So just for those of you who are not from Lambeth, my name's Janie and I'm part of a group called Incredible Edible Lambeth. And the people who are presenting on this call today are all growers within Lambeth, some of them new, some of them been growing for many years. And we thought it would be nice to gather some stories from this year. So we've invited people who would like to tell us a bit about their food growing experiences. So we're starting with B, and over to you, B. We'd love to see your images and hear your story.
Okay, thank you. So this year I took part in the Streatham Community Garden Learner Project. So that was with a friend and we were sharing the plot. And that started at the end of March, so it was quite a strange experience having to be in lockdown but also starting this project. So what happened, the garden were great. They managed to get us like seeds and compost and pots and everything, and delivered that to us. So we actually started growing from home, like sowing all the seeds, and then reared everything into little seed things. And then eventually we were able to go to the garden and start planting. I think it was around May or June, so it was quite late. But yeah, still managed to put a lot in the ground. I have some images of the plot that I can show you. This, I'm not sure what images you're seeing, but this one was right from the start of the project. So that was probably back in May. We planted like some corn, some kale, tomatoes as well. And then I have a picture from a couple of weeks ago, which is this one maybe. Yeah, so that's after we harvested the corn. Now we're like sowing a lot of winter vegetables, like a lot of winter greens. So yeah, you can see how it changed over the few months.
We can still only see the first picture, I think.
Ah, right. Actually, I think I'm gonna, yeah, maybe share my screen again. I don't really know how this works. I just share it on another picture. So yeah, so that's yeah, from a couple of weeks back. And yeah, it's been a really fun experience. So Ruth, who runs the Learner Project at Streatham Community Garden, she's been wonderful. She's taught us a lot. We've done some like workshops in the past couple of weeks on, we did propagation and we did seed saving. And it's just, yeah, it's been a really good experience. And I think even through lockdown, actually being able to go to the garden and you know, be outdoors and be growing food at a time when, yeah, I think things have felt really uncertain. And yeah, it's been great. And we've also been like sharing seeds, and yeah, so that is my experience of growing through lockdown.
Fantastic, thank you. So will you have the plot again next year?
No, it's a 1-year project, but I think some people do stay if they get really involved. So I guess we'll see what happens. It'll be nice to have another, or at least have some space next year to keep growing, whether it's there or somewhere else.
Yeah, I hope you do. Or link up with other growers in some way. I think that's brilliant. Okay. Does anybody want to comment on B's lovely plot, or shall we move on? Okay, so we're going to ask Alex from the Edible Marsh project.
Can I just say that if you want to say something, there's always the chat on the side, that if you wanted to give your email address or wanted to get in touch with B, that's her email on the screen now. So if there's anything anybody wants to, if they don't want to speak, then get in touch. Is that okay to get in touch with your email?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share it.
Yes, or put things in the chat as we're going along.
Yep.
So, Alex, are you ready to share?
I am ready, thank you.
Brilliant.
Hello everyone, my name's Alex. I work for We Are Waterloo, the business improvement district for Waterloo. We do many things for the businesses around Waterloo, and one of them is we run Lower Marsh Market, which I will show you now. So can everyone see this first slide, or can you all see yourselves still? Okay, brilliant. So as a part of Lower Marsh Market, we introduced Edible Marsh, which is a lunchtime gardening club. We have 7 large planters, 2 wheelbarrows and 2 tappy stools. And the tappy stools are old market carts, which we have repurposed into vegetable gardens. This was a free gardening club. It used to meet twice a month from 12 till 2 p.m. But unfortunately, we haven't really been running any workshops during the COVID outbreak, which obviously makes sense. And our aim is to enhance the greenery around our marsh. We kind of styled it as a reclaim your lunch break for workers, for sort of residents, etc. Because obviously sitting in front of your desk for 40 hours a week isn't particularly good for anyone's mental health. So to be able to get out and, you know, do a little bit of planting is a little bit sort of replenishing, I suppose. So all of the produce that we produce on Lower Marsh is completely free. Anyone can take it at any time. Anyone is welcome to get involved. Obviously, all of the stuff that we run, is within the public realm and it isn't guarded at all. So, anyone can help themselves to anything. So what do we have in stock at the moment? We've got plenty of things. As you can see there, we try and grow as many edible things as possible and as many things to complement all of the sort of other bits of planting that we do. We still have a fair bit that's on offer, so if anyone would like some, please come down to Lower Marsh to collect. I suppose it's important to talk about what we plan to do in the short term and what sort of the wider vision is for the project. So at the moment, we've been sending out messages to local residents, to local businesses and to workers as well, letting them know that, the green space is there, it is available. We can speak to people one-on-one to, make sure that, they know about the space, and if there's any opportunities for COVID secure individual kind of practical workshops, we can make that happen. I think 1 in 4 people within our area has access to green space, so 75% that don't is quite substantial, and that's residents solely. So we've been campaigning a little bit on social media, putting out the word, letting people know that this green space is here and that we are around to try and facilitate some sort of support. The long-term sort of vision for the project is to have this sort of 360 cycle, not even a tongue twister, I don't know why I messed that up, a 360 cycle where produce from the planters is used in the market, it's used in the cafes, it's used in the pubs. We then use compostable waste with that food. We turn that back into soil. The soil goes back into the edible marsh planters. And from there, we grow a little bit more food. That is a very brief summary of what we do on Edible Marsh as part of Lower Marsh Market. There is my email. I think it's really nice to be part of Incredible Edible Lambeth, and we do, despite being a business improvement district, we do work really closely with local residents and in partnership with community organisations. So if there is anything anyone needs from us, please do get in touch. I hope this would be like a really good networking opportunity. And thank you for the opportunity to present a few things.
Thanks, Alex. So Marge and I actually went up and visited Edible Marsh today, and it's definitely worth coming to have a look. It's very colourful and it's really brightened up the space, as well as some amazing planters outside the pub. What's the pub? What's the name of the pub, Alex?
The Duke of Sussex.
Duke of Sussex. There's
Yes.
some really, really imaginative planting going on there. Great example of what you can do on a little triangle of pavement, and residents getting involved with that, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. That's brilliant. So the next person who is not going to come on this call is called Cleo, and she lives in Salton Road, and I've just decided that I'm going to read her story because it's such a lovely story. So bear with me. I'm sorry if the internet's going in and out, but I'll do my best. So Cleo says, I've been living on Salton Road for more than 2 decades, but have only recently turned my attention to the front garden, even though as a sharer of a freehold, I have no official claim over it. All the Victorian terraced houses on the street benefit from a small front garden, yet the majority are either cemented over or used as a place to keep the bins. Besides a woody rose tree, since removed, the front garden was bare. My sister planted jasmine, and I've added a planter for rosemary, mint, and various rotating crops: tomatoes, charred potatoes, gooseberries. During lockdown, I would often be seen watering and tending my plants, mostly in pots, and neighbours would stop by and ask questions or even compliment me on my green efforts. This is how I met Miriam, a long-term resident on the opposite side of the road. Her front garden is similarly covered, quite literally, with pots and plants of all descriptions. She's even spilled out onto the pavement, and her house and rear garden are equally occupied by her burgeoning nursery. I was extracting a plant which was invading my planter. Miriam gladly took it home. Next thing I knew, I started finding seedlings wrapped in newspaper on my doorstep. Our green-fingered friendship has been growing ever since. She gave me a tree, which by all accounts appears to be a cherry, which I planted where the rose bush once. And the young couple who live opposite have been inspired to fill their windowsills with flower pots, and even gave me surplus compost they no longer needed. I've weeded an overgrown wild garden of another elderly neighbour. My dream project is to turn my flat roof into a terrace where I can grow more and collect rainwater instead of having to cart a watering can up and down 3 flights of stairs. Living in an urban environment has many advantages, but too much separation from nature has been shown to have dire consequences on human well-being. Everyone should have a patch of space to grow something. Even in wartime, most people had access to an allotment. Similar schemes should be incentivised by local governments instead of pursuing the short-sighted, sorry, I'm just letting someone in, the short-sighted strategy of selling off land to build more flats. Now, I'm sure that resonates with lots of people. And I guess I just wanted to read it because it shows how you have this amazing ripple effect when you start to do something which is out there and public, or in a little community patch, wherever it might be, and how it brings people together. I think that really encapsulates what IEL is all about. Is about building community through growing food. So I hope you enjoyed that. I rather rattled through it, I'm sorry. But it gives you some ideas. So Cleo was part of our Growing for Your Communities project. We got money from the London Response Fund, the second wave, and we distributed seed, compost and trays to around about 150 people in the end, I think it was. And various people on this call today received those seeds. So that was Cleo. And now we are going to hear from Rob, who lives right down in the southern part of the borough, in the balmy climate, balmy, what do I say? Much sunnier.
Stop now.
I'll stop and I'll share my screen so that I can show your slides, if I can find it.
Don't start with my first slide, please. Don't start with my first slide yet.
I won't. I'm just looking for it.
Okay, okay. Shall I start?
Yeah, you start. That would be good.
Okay, what a topic. Oh.
No, it's the wrong one. Sorry. Keep going.
Okay. Gardening during lockdown in SE19. Started the day after the lockdown, the 24th, and I got a call to say, did I want some seed potatoes? And if yes, they'd leave it by my back door, my front door. And when I went out there, there were between 100 and 150 fully chitted Orla seed potatoes. And I put a notice on our street WhatsApp and gave lots of people, and I said advice and help can come with them, and didn't really realise what I was putting myself in for. But one lovely family I gave the potatoes to didn't have a garden. They lived in the flats and in fact didn't have any pots or any compost or anything. So we decided to just look at, and being that it was lockdown, we couldn't get hold of very much in the way of resources. So the potatoes went into a rather unattractive looking compost bag, which Janny is going to show us now, I think.
There you go.
Right, and at the bottom corner on the left-hand side, you'll see this is probably a couple of weeks down the track, because you can see the green buds and the rather unattractive looking bag. So we'll quickly move on to the next picture. And I should say that the star of this production, we'll go back, is Ralph, who's the little chap there cleaning up after his dad. This is their garden. We managed to find pots around the place, and we got Dad Andy to harvest soil from under the deciduous shrubs, which was the only place we could I could advise them. I didn't go around there at this stage. I did go at the very beginning, but after that I didn't go in there. And Andy picked up soil from under the deciduous shrubs, and we'd move on to the next slide. And this is their garden, which is blooming along. The potatoes are in the middle there, and there were some runner beans. I gave them the seeds and sort of instructions of what to do, and they did really well. Some tomatoes, and I think some spinach or something there. For fertiliser, we kept a sort of eco-friendly sort of approach, and we used banana peel and tea leaves, coffee grounds, and likewise for the runner beans. And anyway, the next slide, please. This was harvest day. That was earlier last month, early August, late July. And this is Ralph here picking out of the potatoes as they were tipped into a wheelbarrow. And next slide, please. Oh, and this is Ralph's sister, Edie, and she's got the banana juice. This is I don't know if anybody's used banana peel juice, sorry. And this is a fermented juice of banana peel. It takes about a week. I've got some here just to show you, and we may even pour some out to demonstrate in a moment. But and this is the equivalent of Tomerite, a weaker version. The other equivalent would be to use, say, comfrey, which is much, much stronger. But and then the next picture, please. And we've got Ralph again with the pictures. And then the best picture of all is the last one. And he's eating the produce the same day. He's got the same T-shirt on. And he was totally squealing that day. In fact, he squealed all the way through. He loved seeing the plants growing. And when he was actually eating the potatoes, it was great joy. And his mum actually said that, to quote her, they're first-time farmers, but now they're addicted, and it definitely makes this strange time a much more enjoyable time. The other person that I gave a potato to, well, I set her up, was 79-year-old Jackie, who lives on her own, again in a flat, didn't have any garden, but they did have some green space in the flats, and we managed to find pots and a bit of soil around the place, and she actually decided this gave her some purpose in her life, particularly during lockdown. Ordinarily, she went to Clapham Junction every day before lockdown. She couldn't do that anymore. That was just to go to the library to read the newspapers. But now she went out twice a day to see her veggie patch. Next slide, please. And here, this was taken just a few weeks ago, and the sunflower had just come out. These courgettes are some of the ones that the seeds were given through the Growing for the Community. And there's, and the next slide, please. And this is, she was delighted to get her potatoes. So, but with the growing of the seeds from the, for the Growing for the Community, I turned my patio into a factory of just, there was going to be some more slides, but we haven't put those on, so I can do without those. We didn't take up the offer of the plastic pots because we wanted to keep it as ecologically friendly as possible. I did have a lovely picture of the courgettes coming through an egg carton, which is, I think, the best way to grow your seeds because the roots grow through, just tear them apart and put them in the ground. Out of all those plants, we extended our group. Our little community was growing and growing, and we had, in the end, up to 17 members, and we set up a WhatsApp group so we could distribute information about all the different fertilisers we were using. By this stage, we were using comfrey juice, banana peel juice, nettle juice, and somebody's even bought me some seaweed back from their holiday in Devon to make something for next year. We've been setting up vegetable patches for people, helping with their compost bins, their compost problems, and finally, I should say, our group's called the Eco Farming Warriors, and SE19, SE27, because we've now extended over into West Norwood. We've got quite a range of interesting people that have joined our little community. We don't have an actual community garden, but we've got a really nice, strong community. And I think that's all I want to say. If you'd like to, do you want to see what banana juice? Have any of you used banana peel juice before? Okay, I'm just going to show you. It's it doesn't smell like nettle juice. If you've smelled that, that's pretty powerful. But it's just a milk container full of banana leaves, banana peel. The lower parts of it have been there for probably 2 months now, and you just keep topping it up with both peel and water. And when you tip it out, it's got a slightly alcoholic smell. I'm not going to drink it, don't worry. But it's very pleasantly smells of banana. And I totally recommend it for all your root vegetables, your other fruiting vegetable like tomatoes and courgettes and runner beans, which are doing really well at the moment. And thank you for listening.
Robert, brilliant. So, I mean, Robert's always sending me handy tips, and that banana one is just fantastic. And I completely agree that the plastic trays have to go, and we're going to just have egg cartons in future because it makes complete sense. So thanks for that. And I'm sorry I called you Oaks Avenue Community Growers, Eco Farm Warriors.
Eco Farming Warriors.
Eco Farming Warriors. I can't believe you've got 17 people involved now. That's just
good fun. And it's growing.
Yeah, very, very good.
Okay, thank you.
So Jean, are you happy to speak now? I'm hoping. Hi, Jean.
Yeah, hi.
Lovely. I'm going to try and get your, just give me a minute whilst I find your...
Well, I can talk while you're finding it, if you like.
Yeah, you talk. That would be so nice. Thank you.
Okay, so do I become... Anyhow. I represent an organisation called the Friends of Windmill Gardens, and we look after Brixton Windmill and a small park in Brixton Hill. And we already do have a gardening group, and we've already benefited from support from Incredible Edible Lambeth in the past to turn an old sandpit into a herb bed. And we've got a long-term policy for the park that it should be a foraging park, and we're planting bushes, fruit bushes and so on around the edge. And currently we're also, because we've opened a brand new community centre that the council has built, community stroke education stroke visitor centre. Am I able to see what you're doing? Yeah, so if you look on this slide, you can see the first slide. And if you put it into slide mode, can you do that? Yeah.
Oh, I lost it again. Sorry, I thought I had it then. I mean, one minute, I'll come back to it.
Anyhow, we've recently moved into a new building, and we've raised money to build a vegetable garden at the end of it, which is going to come on stream soon. So we're really pleased about that. But we benefited in two ways during this growing period from the seedlings that one of our members received from the Marksville project, which meant that she was given seeds that were already, you know, seedlings that were already growing, and she had an allotment space where she could grow them on. And you can see a picture down on the right hand side there of the seeds growing on. And then later we also signed up to the Growing for the Community project and received seeds and compost from Incredible Edible Lambeth. And we wanted to utilise this growing project to support our local community. And we felt that the best way we could do that would be to supply fresh vegetables to the food banks. We were already, because we are a windmill, and we are a windmill that makes flour, although not by wind power, I might say, and we were already producing that flour. You can see some of our volunteer millers on the right hand side, and we were already donating, particularly at the beginning of the pandemic when there was such a shortage of flour. We were already able to donate free flour to the food banks. We thought it would be good to try and supplement those donations with fresh vegetables, and as the vegetables came on stream, we began to deliver them every week. So we first started delivering to a group who called themselves the Floating Food Bank, that were delivering parcels on our local on the estate that borders the park. And they were very pleased to have these vegetables. But after a while, their system was not very easy for us to cooperate with, because they floated, and they came some days and they didn't come other days. And of course you have to sort of plan if you're going to harvest and then send a lot of vegetables to be used. So later on, when more regular food banks deliveries were established at the estate, we were able to deliver every Wednesday morning. And this is some of the things that we were delivering. As the seasons progressed and our plants matured, our donations got much more varied. And we also took on board the concept that we wanted to try, Incredible Edible Lambeth wanted us to try and get other people to grow and see the value of growing their own food. So we did plant some of the seedlings in pots and pass them on within simple instructions about growing, so that people and families could grow their own vegetables and herbs. Fortunately, the Blenheim Garden Estate, everybody has at least a balcony, so they could grow on the balcony, and some of the houses have very small gardens. So we felt that that was quite a successful way forward. One other thing that we were able to do is we go on to the next, if you can scroll on to the next slide, Janie. In July and August, our park was the base for a 5-week summer play scheme for young people that was organised by a local charity. And part of their project, they had 100 young people enrolled in it from the ages of 7 up to 16. And part of that project was funded by the Mayor of London's Kitchen project, and that meant that they got a hot meal in the middle of every day. And they were cooking this hot meal in the open air on a barbecue site on the estate. And so in July and August, we delivered our vegetables to that 5-week summer play scheme, so that the cooks could provide healthy vegetarian meals, as well as what was probably more popular to start with, but children's attitudes changed during the 5 weeks, which were sort of barbecued chicken and barbecued sausages and so on and things like that. And the nice picture on the left is a picture of Dean, the apprentice cook. It was a two-man situation. The chef was called Royston and Dean was his apprentice, and he would come round to our growing space and collect the vegetables. That's 1 week's supply of vegetables in that wheelbarrow, and the result was some really tasty vegetable curries that were served to all the children hot lunches on the estate. So you can see the kind of things we were producing: lots of beans, obviously salad stuffs as they came on stream, courgettes, red cabbages, and earlier on we had kohlrabi, and so they were being introduced to new and different vegetables. Not all of them came as a result of the seed projects, because bit by bit our neighbours started giving us plants or giving us surplus products that they had been growing as well. So it expanded. In the final week of the scheme, our Windmill volunteers decided that they wanted to cook their own hot meals for the children. And obviously everything had to be served in the open air. The children weren't allowed in buildings because of the COVID-19 regulations. And our volunteers decided they would theme these meals, a different meal from a different country each day. And in the end, we only delivered 4 meals because we were rained off one day. And when the rain came, the children all got sent home. But we had started with a Turkish meal, we had an Italian meal, we had a Caribbean meal, and finally we had a Thai meal. And here you see the children taking their food away from the bifold doors of our lovely new building where they could be served. And that was really quite good for us, because it also showed us that we can use this new building also for projects that involve not only the growing of vegetables, but the cooking of them. And one of our long-term aims is to, run really good classes and projects that introduce young people and families to cooking for themselves and using fresh ingredients. And of course, we have this great advantage that we produce our own flour. We have this lovely kitchen where we can do baking classes as well. So if you move on a bit, you can just see that we continue to supply our organically grown vegetables to the Brixton and Norwood Food Bank every week. And that supplements the flour, the free flour that we send to them as well, the donations of flour, which we've been able to continue, and we will be able to continue probably for the next year, because we got a lot of donations from people who wanted to support our delivery of flour to the food banks. And even our grain supplier sent us 3/4 of a ton of grain for free to be able to be milled for the food banks. But I just wanted to show you this tweet from the food bank themselves, where they say it's great to be able to add these gorgeous fresh veggies to our food parcels this week. Thanks to the allotments of Brixton Windmill. We shouldn't really mention the allotments, but because of the allotment rules, but that's where we grow most of our veg, but not all of them. And then they say, who can tell us what the veg leaf in the first picture is? Well, I have to say it didn't come from the seeds that you sent us, and it didn't come from the seedlings that we received. It came from a donation from one of our friendly growers. Does anybody know what it is? Do any of you know what it is? Well, the answer is it's Mexican tree spinach. And we've introduced this to the food parcels that go out across Brixton and Norwood. So we're really pleased about the fact that we engage with this project. We really want to thank Incredible Edible Lambeth for providing the seeds, the compost, and for encouraging us and enabling us to grow on these nutritious, healthy food donations for local people. And long term, we want to build this into, one of the regular activities in our growing space that we've developed in the park. And hopefully we can continue to collaborate on these as well and encourage more people to grow their own food, to eat food that's grown locally and food that doesn't have any food miles involved in it, like our flour. And hopefully we'll be training lots of people to bake and using our vegetable ingredients to enhance their cooking skills. So that's what we've been doing at Brixton Windmill, and we want to continue long term. I mean, one of the things we have produced an enormous amount of vegetables actually over the last 6 months, and we've been inspired to do that really by the support we got from Incredible Edible Lambeth and the Marksville project.
Well, you are completely unstoppable, if I might say so. And I'm so excited. I still haven't seen the. Can we come and have a visit, please?
Yes.
Can we come and see the new building?
Well, yes, I forgot to mention that we are actually, because we can't do very much in the building, we have set up a sort of, we've set up a pop-up cafe at the doors of the building, and our volunteers are baking, and they're baking using our local ingredients. We're pressing our own apple juice from the apples that we've got, and they bake cakes using our flour, and also rhubarb that we grow, and apples, of course, are in season at the moment, and plums. And we also have one volunteer who makes the most incredible jam and chutneys, again, with fruit that we've been growing and materials that have come locally.
Brilliant. So is that every day, the pop-up cafe? Or?
On the weekdays, we're there between 2 and 4 every afternoon to catch the children and their families as they come out of school and come and play in the park. But we're hoping to extend that if we can.
Great. Okay.
Dependent on the number of volunteers we have.
Okay, Jean, you're amazing. So if people don't know Brixton Windmill, go and see it.
Oh, do come and visit us, yes, and hopefully you'll all be able to join us inside our beautiful building instead of just looking at it from the outside soon.
Thanks, Jean. We wrote on the schedule that Tori was going to speak about Marksville Park. I know that Tori's here, but Marge is chair of Marksville Park, and she may be choosing to speak about what they've been doing. Who's doing it, Marge? Is it you or Tori?
I think it's me. I think Tori's out walking somewhere.
Okay.
Anyway, I think she's listening in.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, thanks for that, Jean, and thanks for everybody else that got seeds from us. I mean, it's amazing what we've done. I'll just read through what we've actually achieved. We gave seedlings to over 300 different groups, households or whatever in May. And since then, Fabrice has been given out even more. Fabrice estimated that in July, we'd given away 40,000 plants, and we must be up to 50,000 now. I mean, every Tuesday, Fabrice is in Myatt's giving out plants now, and he's giving out winter bedding plants. So get your bedding plants in. I mean, it's amazing. He goes to sites. I don't know whether any of you have had a visit from Fabrice, but he's brilliant, and he gives support during the growing seasons. He's mainly been on Angeltown and Loughborough Park and Loughborough Estate. So, I mean, because IEL used the park as well to hand out stuff. I mean, IEL's been brilliant. The park's been fantastic. I think we've got more tomato plants in Lambeth due to this. I mean, I think everybody has had crops of tomatoes. It'd be interesting to see at the end of this, when we collate all the information, how much food we've actually given out. I mean, we're still giving out stuff, and Janie and the rest of us at IEL want to give out compost. I mean, I think soil is one of the important things going forward, that, you know, you can find a carrier bag, sorry, it's plastic, you can find something to fill up, but soil is really difficult to come across. So if, you know, going forward, we want to do that. And, you know, we'll be producing more and more seedlings. I think it's worked so well. And I think the council has to realise that, you know, places like Myatt's and people like IEL are really doing work on the ground, and we're giving out plants to people, so many people, you know, just through Eugene and you, Robert, you know, just the things that we've given you that have just spread to other people. And I think that's how we go in the future. We start small, we just expand, we try and help as many people as possible to grow things. And Jean, you're right, if you get children eating vegetables, and Robert, you know, seeing that little boy eating a potato that he had grown, I think that really makes a difference. It's that connection. And if we can keep the, you know, the food miles down, that's another thing. Oh, Tori's here. She might want to add something. She's just come online. You know, I'm sure I've said something wrong, but before I hand over, I just want to say that it's all down to volunteers. I mean, we've got Fabrice, we've got Melanie, we've got, you know, Elisa, Raja, Tony, Marion, Ty. I mean, even Dennis, even Natalie, you know, all those people have helped us, and they've given so much time to this project over the summer. And if you don't have volunteers that want to do it and want to help, you're really struggling. So my heart goes out to, you know, and my thanks to all the people in Myatt's and all the IEL volunteers that have helped, because that has made the difference. Who's laughing?
So I wanted to add, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. That Fabrice is kind of clearing the greenhouse at the moment, like Marge said. And he's doing kind of, it's all sorts of green leafy veg. We're meant to be targeting Vassal and Coldharbour, and that's what we mainly do. But he is giving them away on, I think it might be Friday afternoon now, at 4:30 to 6.
It's Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, so just this week he's trying to clear them, and we've got quite a lot left. So if anybody needs leafy greens that you can give out to other people or whatever. The other thing is Marge is videoing Fabrice every week, and he does a sort of 2-minute piece on what to do in the garden this week. So I find it really helpful because I started growing for the first time this year, and it's just kind of what should we be doing now, what should we be planting. I'm actually sitting in Sainsbury's car park, so that's why there's a lot of car park noise. Sorry about that.
But I think I'll in the chat room, I'll put up the Fabrice thing on our website so that everybody can look. We're up to week 5, and he's supposed to be 2 or 3 minutes on each thing, but he's so knowledgeable about every vegetable and plant that I've tried to cut him down. I've tried to stop him speaking, but they're all about 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes long, which are a bit long, but if you're listening, doing something else, he's very knowledgeable, and they're really actually quite interesting.
And pass them on to other people, because basically, because it's online, as many people as want to can. It doesn't mean it doesn't have to be Vassal and Coldharbour. It can be everybody. Just listen to them. It's really, really helpful as a new grower to kind of hear what to do this week.
Yep. Okay, I think that's us because we've got 15 minutes, and Deborah wants to speak. So.
Yeah, Deborah, thank you, Marge and Tori. Myatt's are so brilliant. They're kind of, to my mind, a model park of what is possible in a community. So it's fab. Deborah, do you have any images you want to share, or are you happy to just talk?
I'm happy to just talk. To be honest, my computer's been extremely slow, so I would show images, but I'm just really worried everything's going to freeze.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, over to you.
So I live in sort of Palace Road area, which is sort of between Tulse Hill and Streatham. I've lived here for about a year, and I've always been interested in growing, but in my old flat, I only had a very small balcony, so mainly grew flowers. So over the past few months, thanks to the help of Incredible Edible Lambeth, I've been growing a lot more because I took part in the seedling drive. So I grew quite a few of the seedlings and passed them on to, started off with neighbours, so doing a few runs around the neighbourhood and just seeing who wants seedlings and so on. Also shared a few with a few sort of play groups mainly around the area, just to see if they wanted them to share with the children or if they wanted to put them down in their green areas. But I've also been taking part in the new local growing group. So at the moment we're doing bits of everything. We have quite a few apple trees that mainly families are taking care of, but a few individuals are also helping water them. We've got quite a few planters. Again, thanks to Incredible Edible Lambeth, we've been able to put quite a lot of veg in the planters. So every time I go to help water them, neighbours come up to me and say, oh, I love this. I've been taking tomatoes or I've been taking courgettes, and they really want to know how to get involved. So it's been really a catalyst for me to learn more about my neighbourhood and meet new people I've never really talked to before. For example, I actually gave a few seedlings to a neighbour who has children, and she wanted a few tips. So I popped back down just to give her a few more seedlings and some tips. And then she actually gave me a plant I was planning to buy anyway as a present. So it's been a good way to sort of connect and plant swap and seed swap and really just grow. But yeah, it's been great being involved with Incredible Edible Lambeth and learning more about veg mainly. But yeah, that's all I have to say really.
Deborah, music to our ears, because that's exactly what we're hoping to achieve. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, or have I frozen?
You're
No,
frozen,
fine.
but we can hear you.
Yeah, keep talking.
Okay, good thing. Yeah, because that you missed my little intro, Deborah, but this whole thing about how we build community through food has just been exemplified tonight, actually, with all the different people and how you've made new connections and got to know your neighbours and spread the whole idea of food growing, which is just fantastic. Look, there's nothing else to say really, other than I just have loved all your contributions, and hope that everyone can continue to be involved in whatever we do next, in terms of we hope to distribute more seeds and compost and get more people growing. So keep an eye on the newsletter. So we've got quite a few offers going at the moment. And what's our next Food Stories event is going to be about saving seed, and that is in the second week in October, I think it is. I'll tweet about it, and the details will be on the website and in Eventbrite. If you are a seed saver and you'd like to tell a story about saving seed, then you're very welcome. We're trying to collate some stories with a view to making a short film about why we all save seed. And we've got some experts talking to us too. So I hope you can join us for that. Does anybody want to say anything in the last couple of minutes, or shall we say goodbye to each other? Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Incredible Edible Lambeth, for making this all possible. So thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Thank you. Is there anything in the chat that we need to take note of? No, I don't think there is. Okay.
I've just put up our website details if anybody's interested. Yeah.
And
Oh,
I'll send you lot all Fabrice's films.
Great.
I'll send them through to everybody.
That's fantastic. Okay, thank you everybody for joining, and see you all soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jean, come and see you.